Hi everybody, Charlie here from Raptoreum. This will be a manual Smartnode setup guide, meaning I'll go through all of the steps. There will be no script. Every single step on the control wallet and your VPS for your Smartnode. Great way to get acquainted with the process and learn your Smartnode a little bit more in depth than using a script. And if you're interested in learning a little bit of Linux skills as well. You're going to need a VPS with at least 1 gigabyte of RAM and 1 CPU core. 2 CPU cores is better, but as long as you have nothing running on the VPS, it's going to try and fight with the Raptoreum daemon for CPU. 1 core will work. So once you have your VPS, I should mention, of course, at this time, right now, you need 1 million Raptoreum for collateral to complete the guide and to set up your Smartnode. So once you have your VPS, you log in with SSH, and with root, it's possible some providers, they don't give you root access, they give you a sudo user. If that's the case, you can issue this command sudo su. It'll switch you fully to the root account, and you need that for the first part of this guide, or you're probably going to run into some type of permission errors. So once you have switched over to the root user, you can issue this command. We're going to update the operating system. I actually did it just before I started the video. I forgot to turn on to start recording, so I've already done that. I was going to show you what it looks like, but it's already done. It just takes a minute. Once it's done, you can install unzip. We need that to unpack the bootstrap. And the bootstrap is basically a snapshot of the chain that we provide on our GitHub with the releases, and download that, unpack it, and it greatly speeds up the synchronization process for your daemon. Otherwise, it can take 10, 11 hours sometimes for it to fully sync up. With the bootstrap, it syncs up in half hour, maybe less. So that's installed. Now we need to add some swap. The swap is, if you don't add swap, the Raptoreum daemon will spike and it will use more than 1 gigabyte of RAM. And if it doesn't have something to fall back on, such as this virtual memory from the hard drive swap, it will crash, it'll stick, and you'll end up with your node getting banned and you won't receive payments. So this is an important thing to add. First, we're going to check, make sure there's no swap already added, because some providers, it's rare, but they do set up a VPS with swap already added. So you can see here, there is no swap. So you can copy this block of code and simply paste it, and it'll do what's needed. Now, the swappiness that you see is adding here. It'll be effective after reboot too, as will the swap. This just tells the operating system, don't use swap unless it's an emergency, because we don't want it swapping. The default swap is a little bit too easy. We don't want the operating system dipping into that, because swap is slow. So it's really not needed unless Raptoreum D spikes, and then it can fall back on that to keep it from crashing. All right, so this is Ubuntu 20. It comes with UFW usually, so does Ubuntu 18, but there are some providers that don't include it in their template for their VPS. So you can do UFW status. It'll show you it's inactive. Usually by default it's inactive, they don't have it on. Or it won't find it at all, at which case you can install it with this command. But since it's already installed, we're going to set it up with the rules we need. We're going to allow SSH, obviously. That's how we're logging into the server. If you don't add that, you'll be locked out. 10226 is the port needed for the daemon to communicate. And enable just enables the rules and make sure it starts up on reboot. Now, fail to ban Because I'm just setting this up with a password, and you might as well. I don't set up with keys for the guide. I don't really feel it's needed. Anyways, this failed to ban is just to keep the bots and the kiddies from brute forcing your SSH service port, which can cause high resource use, etc. And I'm assuming you have a strong password, so chances of getting it's pretty slim, but it can cause spike on the resources. So we'll install that. We'll add the rule so it knows what to do. We'll protect our SSH port, as you can see, port 22. And max retry is 3, which means after 3 failed attempts to log in, the IP is banned. Restart the service. Now, here we're going to go ahead and reboot. Get that out of the way. We're going to, because we updated the operating system and kernel, so let's boot into the updated kernel. Okay, once you have rebooted, you log back in to your server, and we're going to add a user specifically for running your Smartnode, your Raptoreum daemon. This is not a good thing to run under the root account. No need even for it to have sudo privileges, so just create a normal, regular user. And we're going to change to that user. Okay, now we're going to get the Raptoreum wallet / daemon and the bootstrap. The bootstrap's going to speed up your sync time a lot. If you're going to sync from scratch, it can take anywhere from 6, 7, 8 hours up to 12 hours, depending on your connection and your peer connection, etc. So it's just a good thing to use the bootstrap. We provide this as part of our releases on our GitHub. Should be able to just copy that whole block. And all done, just like it says. Here you can see Raptoreum core server is starting. To confirm that, you can do top and check its CPUs. As we can see, it's using pretty much a full core. And it'll keep that high CPU use until it's done synchronizing. Once it's done synchronizing, it'll drop down to minimal use. And it's apparent right away that it's done synchronizing. So we'll leave that as is. We'll leave it just like this, and we'll come back to it once our local wallet is set up. So this is our local wallet. This is a wallet, Raptoreum core, that you run on your PC. This is where you will keep your coins. This is where you'll do your ProTX transaction, generate your config to put back on your Smartnode. So here you can see you can get the latest wallet at raptoreum.com latest. That will just forward you to our GitHub. So I'm on Windows right now, as much as I don't like it, but I have to be on it for a few different reasons. All right, where'd it go? Yeah, I downloaded twice. Too many things open. So go. I have 7-zip here, so I'm going to extract it with that, but you can also just use Windows normal unzip as well. Okay, now we're going to get the bootstrap. I already have, the guide says create .rap or a Raptoreum core. You can see here the path for it. I've already had a wallet running, so this directory is already created. But if this is your first time grabbing the wallet, you can go ahead here and create Raptoreum core, because you need to put the bootstrap in it before we run the wallet. Or you can run the wallet and then kill it. It'll create this for you, but it's better just to create the directory without killing it, because whenever you kill it forcefully like that, when it's in the middle of trying to synchronize, it can cause problems. So that's the reason why I say create Raptoreum core before the bootstrap. Download the bootstrap. Waiting for it. Of course, my internet connection, which is usually fast, is kind of slow right now. So as we can see down here, it's downloading. Almost there. Terrible speed. Okay, there we go. Bootstrap is done. It's extracted here as well. Again, 7-zip. You can use the normal built-in Windows extract as well. Okay, here we have the bootstrap folder. Copy those over into our Raptoreum core. There we go. And we'll go back to guides, and let's start up our wallet. All right, verifying blocks. We'll see what it does here. I might pause the video for a couple of minutes. Yeah, I should have started it without it rescanning. It's something that you can, oh, not too bad. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and pause this. I think it's most likely only going to take maybe 10 or 15 minutes to synchronize up by the looks of it. Okay, so the wallet's finished syncing up. It took a little bit longer than I thought. It took about 20 minutes. Really not bad at all with the bootstrap. So that's great. So now the thing you want to make sure you do is encrypt your wallet. Your wallet.dat file in your data directory. Okay, you have here, not encrypted. Somebody gets their hands on that. They load it. They have your coins. You know, they have your keys. They have your coins. So you want to encrypt that, which is right here. Encrypt wallet. This wallet's already encrypted, so I'm not gonna encrypt it right now, but that's where you do it. You enter your passphrase, And that's it. It's encrypted. Make sure you make a backup after it's encrypted of the wallet.dat file. Create a new receiving address. This is going to be where you send your 1 million Raptoreum, your collateral. It has to be all in one send or it won't work. Oh, we're going to label it request payment, copy address. Got it. Okay, but we're not done yet. What we're gonna do, you have your wallet.dat file, that's fine, you have it backed up, but it's good to dump your private key for your receiving address. Print it, stick it in a safe somewhere, because if you lose the wallet.dat file, you forget the password, whatever, you can restore your wallet and get your funds back if you have the private key recorded somewhere, but you should not keep it online. Print it, make sure it's not stored on your computer anywhere. It's stored in multiple locations, fireproof, safe, whatever. Just yeah, make it somewhere secure. So go to debug console. First thing we need to do is unlock the wallet. So wallet passphrase, your password. That's my password for this wallet. Of course, it won't stay like that for long after I make this guide. So, and then in seconds, let's say 2 minutes, 120 seconds. So wallet will be unlocked for 120 seconds, allowing us to dump the private key. Because if it's encrypted, you cannot dump the private key unless you unlock it. Null is what you want for return. So here it is, dump private key. In quotation, that was the reason I put it in my notepad here, just so it was kept handy. So here is, your public address, your public key. Here's the corresponding private key. Okay, so record this, put it somewhere safe, multiple locations. Do not store it on your PC or online. Perfect. Okay, now we're going to send the 1 million RTM collateral to the address that we just made, which is right here. So where it's send, that was the address I made. And you can confirm, because as soon as you enter it, the label's going to pop up. 1 million RTM. So I don't know if you caught that, but I was able to send without entering my password. And that's because the wallet was still unlocked for that 2-minute time period we just did in the debug window for dumping the private address. Usually you would have to enter your password that you used for encrypting your wallet. Okay, now you can see overview. You can see here you sent a transaction. If you go to transactions, payment to yourself. So we need to wait now for 2 confirmations. 1 usually is enough, but wait for 2 just to be safe. You can see here we have 1 confirmation. Block time is 2 minutes, so we need to wait. I'll wait for 1 more confirmation. You can see it just by hovering over it here. So I'll pause the video for a minute until there's a couple confirmations. Okay, I'm back, and let's see how many confirmations we have here. 4 confirmations. So we should be good to go. So here's an example of the command we need to run It's a transaction. Just going to put in Notepad so we can build it. The first one is the transaction hash, transaction ID. Second is collateral index. We can see that by doing so that is our output, and as you can see, the index is 1, which is right here. But to get the transaction ID, let's just go back to transactions, copy transaction ID, place this. Okay, here's the server IP. Server IP, I've already put in the correct IP for my Smartnode server IP for this test, for this guide. Now this is an address that is in your wallet that contains enough to pay for this ProTX quick setup transaction. It's a very small amount. So if you want to see which addresses have a balance on them that you can use to pay for the transaction, you can see here, it's list address balances. So there you see, we have one with 0.99, that's more than enough for the transaction. Okay, the command is built, or I should say that the transaction is built. But like any transaction, with our wallet encrypted, we need to unlock it first. Okay, wallet is unlocked. And boom, as you can see, the transaction was successful. You can see all the information here: collateral address, payout address, voting address, everything that you need to see. You can see here where it created your configuration file. This is where you ran the exe file to open the wallet from. That's where it stores this. That contains the information that you need to put in your Smartnode configuration file. And you will also, here is the BLS key. If you're running DK808 script, you would need that. So let's go find our configuration file here. So in guides that we run it, here you can see we created the file. The RPC user, RPC password, the script automatically creates a random user, random password. You don't need to change these. When we first started, the ProTX command was using the same user and password, so you had to manually change it. That's no longer the case. Okay, so copy this information. You're going to need it. Now head back to your Smartnode server. You can see here we're still in top, we're monitoring the CPU usage for the Raptoreum daemon. It is 1%. It's done syncing. Control C to exit. I get out of the bootstrap. So paste in your information. Now you can see up here, there's a reason why I left top open, and that's so you could see the process ID. We're going to kill it. As you can see, it's no longer there. That's not the most gentle way to do it. Probably what you should do is use Raptoreum CLI to stop the daemon gracefully. But it can take a bit to stop, and I just didn't really think about it before I got to this part of the guide. So anyways, that won't hurt to do it one time. Now we can go ahead and start the Raptoreum daemon again. And you'll notice this time we do not need to add daemon, because in our config file we already defined that it should be run as a daemon. Okay, what did I screw up there? Ah, hope if I could spell, eh? There we go. Okay. There you go. You can see it's up and running. The CPU will drop right away because it's already synced. There we go. It's down. Now we are going to check and see. Let's make sure I'm following the rest of this here. Yeah, all good. We want to check the Smartnode status. We can do that with Raptoreum CLI. Okay, so waiting for ProTX to appear on chain. It means since we made our transaction, the ProTX transaction, there has not been a block solved. We have got to wait for a block to be hit on chain. So 2-minute block time. It should be really any second. Once a block is hit, that will be on chain. Give it just 5 seconds here, and then I'll try again. Should be pretty close. Okay, well, I'll give it a little bit longer. Maybe it's a long block. I'll pause this for a moment, and I'll come back to it. Okay, that block took a little while, and now I'm back, and it's all good. As you can see, Smartnode status, ready. Means that it's good to go. Your Smartnode is running. It's in the right status. It will start receiving payments. You can also go into your wallet, Smartnodes, My Smartnodes, and you will see it here, enabled, next payment. All the information is right here. So that's it. That is the end of the guide. I hope it was helpful to you. If you ever have any problems or get stuck or anything, don't hesitate to hit us up on Twitter, jump in our Discord. We have a really big, super helpful community. Everybody's willing to help out, and we'll get you straightened out and your Smartnode running in no time. Thanks for watching.